Hey guys, this is Anime Ball Z here, and today we're going to be doing the second part of What If Naruto Was a Fox Age. Thanks for all of the support on the first part, it did surprisingly well. Be prepared for a lot more parts of this What If in the future. Please like since it helps the algorithm, and put in the comments anything that you enjoyed about the video or something that I should improve on for the next part. There's nothing much else I'd like to say in the intro, so without further ado, let's get into the video.
Winter time, all the time, ooh, yeah. Look at the way that I move, swag, disrespectful and I'm rude, okay. I had cocaine in the school.
Jiraiya manages to take care of the two villains and they both flee before anything escalates. Naruto wonders how the guy has a Sharingan, but he deduces that it has something to do with Sasuke's want to kill a certain someone. Naruto begins to learn the Rasengan as the Akatsuki are coming for him. Since he's had training with much more unstable chakra, he finds it easier to try and perform such jutsu. The whole thing with Orochimaru and Tsunade goes the same, with him giving her a week to think about healing him, where things changes the battle with Tsunade. With Naruto having much more power and training, he might actually stand a chance against her. Tsunade prepares herself with a single finger and Naruto takes his time to absorb the natural energy around him and form Sage Chakra. After a good while, he enters Imperfect Sage Mode and opens his eyes to reveal his canine eyes. Jiraiya smirks when he sees this and Tsunade's jaw drops. How could a boy be capable of Sage Mode at such a young age? Naruto speeds at his opponent with far more speed than Tsunade ever could have expected. He throws a punch that is dodged and she strikes down with her finger. Naruto, without even looking at the incoming attack, flips directly over it and Tsunade destroys the ground below. Naruto lands and then reveals 3 shuriken. He hurls one at Tsunade with high speed, cutting out her finger. Once Tsunade sees the blood dripping from her finger, she starts to get stressed and quickly wipes the blood away. Naruto throws 2 more shuriken and Tsunade ends up dodging both. Naruto then pulls out 2 kunai and makes an X formation with his arms before charging his opponent. He flips while midair and strikes the kunai down as hard as he can with a reverse grip. He actually cracks the ground and wedges such kunai deep in the concrete below. He chucks his remaining kunai ahead before closing in and beginning close quarters combat. Even with just a finger, Tsunade is able to just about lock him down with 100% effort. Through looking at many different suggestions and theories across the internet, it's safe to say that both forms of Sage Mode increase one's strength by multiple times. For example, let's say Imperfect Fox Sage Mode multiplies one's strength by 9 times. Naruto is about 30% stronger than his canon self since he really hasn't trained all that much. If his what if multiplier is 1.3 and Imperfect Sage Mode's multiplier is 9 times, this will make him 11.7 times stronger than his canon counterpart. That's insane to think about, so Tsunade will definitely be having a hard time right now. Of course Naruto isn't winning, but Tsunade is having to try a lot harder. After a few good seconds, Naruto even manages to get a few hits in and can actually dodge the attacks coming at him. He eventually breaks apart her defense and finishes off with a powerful strike to her stomach, knocking her back about 3 meters. Tsunade calls off the battle and Naruto's hair returns to its ordinary blonde. Tsunade says, "Jiraiya, did you teach him that?" Jiraiya says, "Nope, I don't even know how you could use Sage Mode until the Chunin exam finals. It was truly remarkable to witness." She laughs while looking back to Naruto and says, "Where did you learn that?" Naruto just plays it off and says, "I just saw it in some old book." The adults don't play further into it, but wonder if what he said was actually true. His features resemble a fox and Jiraiya suspects that it might have something to do with the Ninetales. If it does, it might be bad for the seal placed on it. Kurama starts to smartly deduce that he might be having a few eyes on him, but he lets it rest as of now. Anyway, telling Naruto could make him more nervous and slip up. Naruto begins training hard the next week. He goes into Sage Mode every single day up until the final day of the week and he starts to get a lot of progress. His Rasengan has actually reached an ordinary level for what he's displayed further on in the series, and this certainly surprises Jiraiya. He even surprises himself slightly. With this new deadly jutsu in his arsenal, he can't wait to fight someone to test out his new abilities. He has also been training his strength, but how much strength can he get in a week? Tsunade drugs Jiraiya's drink and actually walks on Naruto to see him meditating calmly. He instantly opens a single eye and says, "What?" Tsunade then says, "Well, can you do the jutsu?" Naruto stands from his bed and lands in the middle of the hall. He just starts smiling and reveals his palm. He forms a shadow clone right next to him and starts forming the Rasengan. It slowly forms in his hand and actually reaches the regular size. He then just turns it into faint streams of chakra and destroys it completely. "Where's that necklace?" Tsunade just throws it across the hall in irritation. Naruto catches it with ease. However, Tsunade starts to act oddly. Shizune knows what she's thinking of doing and says, "Tsunade, please don't go, I'll kill myself to stop you going." Tsunade just turns and knocks her unconscious and taps Naruto's neck. They both fall to the ground and she makes her exit to meet Orochimaru. Naruto wakes up shortly after and gets Shizune up. Jiraiya also stops Shizune from running after Tsunade, and Kabuto is watching all of this. Seeing all of these powerhouses leads them to retreat and report back to Orochimaru. Tsunade eventually meets up with Orochimaru and Kabuto, and a fight with Kabuto eventually ensues. He still uses his mystical palm jutsu and manages to injure Tsunade quite a bit. As he regains some of the ability to move his body, he goes into attack again. However, Naruto rushes in with Kurama influence and strikes him across the jaw. He flies back several meters and Shizune and Jiraiya land next to the fox-like boy. Tsunade gets taken out of action by her fear of blood and Jiraiya gets slammed to the ground by Tsunade prior to this. Naruto takes this good few seconds of combat to stand perfectly still and go into Imperfect Fox Sage mode. His hair lightens out to a bright white as he faces a new opponent. He zooms across the battlefield, blurring past the injured ninja. Naruto flips while midair and rains down with 2 kunai. They both land on opposite ends of Kabuto and he finds it confusing. However, he then sees the tide paper bombs in the split second after they blow up beside him. Naruto blurs through the smoke and punches Kabuto through it too. Kabuto rolls once and gets kicked back up into the air by Naruto. He leaps up and punches him in the chest, grabbing his arm and spin throwing him down to the ground. He destroys the ground and makes a small crater once Kabuto lands. Kabuto grunts from the pain and is surprised how Naruto has been able to grow so much strength in such little time. What is this, Kabuto? I thought that you were on our side. He laughs while slowly standing and he adjusts his glasses. I was never on your side. I'm devoted to Orochimaru and always will be. Jiraiya arrives at Naruto's side and says, Naruto, you will fight Kabuto. Shizune, you help Tsunade as she heals. I will fight Orochimaru. Naruto closes his eyes while he says this and slowly starts to expel the amount of natural energy he has absorbed. As he does this, his fox features start to disappear and his sage mode becomes more pure. His power increases greatly and he opens his eyes dramatically. Jiraiya knows exactly what this is. This is perfect sage mode. He walks ahead of Jiraiya and says, noted. Kabuto still believes he is at around the same level of strength that he was at before. Naruto wasn't even going all out then, so he's definitely in for a ride. Naruto blurs ahead and literally blows wind in Shizune's face when he advances towards his opponent. Jiraiya then gets on to fighting Orochimaru and Naruto begins his battle with Kabuto. A single punch from Naruto shatters the glass on Kabuto's glasses and launches him several meters. Naruto hits him with a devastating punch before landing a spinning heel kick directly on the guy's chin. This attack actually snaps Kabuto's jaw out of place and then finishes by pummeling him with a hook to the side. He literally snaps several ribs and when Kabuto tries to throw a punch of his own, it turns out to be quite sluggish. Naruto just ducks under the attack and lets Kabuto stumble to the ground. Blood drips out from Kabuto's mouth and his glasses just slip off his head. Naruto steps back quickly before zooming off to try and help with Jiraiya. However, he sees the size of Orochimaru's snake and looks a little intimidated. Orochimaru looks down from the snake and notices that Naruto has taken down Kabuto so easily. It really surprises him and he sees Naruto as a serious threat. Witnessing his speed is also shocking since he was just again in a little over a month ago. Orochimaru dives down with the Kusanagi sword sticking out from his serpentine mouth. Naruto senses the attack before he even sees it and he literally kicks at the diving sword. He literally snaps it in half before he flips it aside, dodging the attack. Naruto then swings at Orochimaru, knocking him back a step. He smirks and Naruto then gets kicked away several meters. The attack makes the fox-like Sage Mode user feel like his stomach is collapsing in on himself. He can barely catch his breath back, but he stands with his amazing willpower. Orochimaru can't help but laugh in surprise when he sees Naruto just stand up from his hit. It wasn't full power, but he wasn't holding back all that much. Naruto falls to a knee and starts panting. His hair returns to blonde and his powers all disappear. He's never experienced a time limit of Sage Mode, he just grits his teeth in irritation. Without that form, he knows he's useless and the punch from Orochimaru is still making him feel weak and lightheaded. The three Sanin begin their battle with their summoned animals. Naruto just watches from the side and makes sure to keep himself safe from attack. Even with these disadvantages, his will to fight hasn't faded. Kurama can easily fulfill this will of combat. Naruto's body engulfs in a powerful aura and he goes into his Kurama influence form and runs at Manda. He leaps up his tail and starts climbing the snake with shocking speed. He starts using kunai to get up further and further faster. He eventually reaches a curve out onto his back and he starts running across his body towards Orochimaru. Manda gets his mouth completely held open by one of Gamabunta's swords. A few seconds after this happens, Naruto appears out of nowhere preparing his Rasengan. To be totally honest, I didn't know if the Rasengan is purple with just a little influence from Kurama's chakra. I'll just say it looks a little purple from the red aura encasing the blue Rasengan. Orochimaru hears someone approaching him from behind and Manda feels a slight pain in his tail. He slightly turns and gets hit by the powerful Rasengan to his gut. He then goes flying off the head of the large snake and Jiraiya just watches in awe. How is this child's attack potency high enough to send Orochimaru, a rival to his own power, flying off the surface? It's stunning to see. Naruto just stands on the head of Manda before he disappears, being disgusted by Orochimaru's weakness. Naruto then starts falling from the height of Manda, but he lands on Gamabunta's free hand before being slowly laid down by him. His Kurama chakra fades and Jiraiya is surprised by the Nine-Tails' willingness to provide him with so much power. Tsunade still returns to Konoha and becomes the 5th Hokage. She also still gives the medical care to Rock Lee from his severe injuries. At the start of the Sasuke recovery arc, Sasuke still feels hate towards Naruto for his gained strength. After seeing his powers in the Chunin exams, it made him feel even more aggressive towards his teammate. Once Naruto returns to Konoha, he is quick to challenge him to a battle. Sasuke and Naruto stand on the hospital roof and Sasuke is clearly the more angry fighter. "Are you scared? Fight me, Naruto." Naruto just shakes his head and says, "No." Sasuke then activates his Sharingan and steps ahead, closer to Naruto. "You will fight to me and lose, Naruto." Naruto just doesn't reply and closes his eyes, trying to hastily put together some Senjutsu chakra. Sasuke just carries on shouting and provoking Naruto, but he soon realizes that no one is listening to him. He then realizes that Naruto isn't replying to him anymore and he just charges right in. However, he gets confused by the development of white hair on Naruto's head. His eyelids also start to go red and Sasuke literally stops in his tracks. Claws grow from Naruto's fingers and he grows shaggier hair. He grows more fox-like features and opens his eyes to stare at Sasuke's red eyes with his very own red eyes. He speeds ahead and leaps towards Naruto. He swings in for a kick, but Naruto dodges and kicks him right across the roof. Sasuke wheezes from the hit and grasps his chest in agony. His eyes open wide from the realization of Naruto's strength. Even in Imperfect Sage Mode, he packs a serious punch. In a fit of rage, Sasuke raises to his feet and darts towards Naruto, revealing a kunai. He throws it at him, but Naruto just bops his head with his eyes closed. He catches the kunai as it flies past him and spins clockwise to make his back face the Uchiha Ninja. As this happens, he stabs into his arm and knees him in the sternum with a strong leap. Sasuke flies airborne and hits the ground hard, launching the kunai out from the shallow wound. Sasuke spits blood onto the hospital floor, and before he can try and fight further, Kakashi appears in between them. Naruto just takes his chance to fall out of Sage Mode and walk back, retreating from the whole altercation. Sasuke is clearly injured quite badly and has certainly been destroyed mentally. He has just been seriously humbled and Naruto wasn't trying or using his full power. It's one of the most humiliating things for him. Naruto has ascended from the low-life loser with no power to arguably the strongest of the 12 Konoha Genin. Sakura still tries to keep Sasuke in the village, but the sound fall and his will to surpass Naruto convinces him to leave. He knows how strong Naruto actually is and just wants to leave to surpass him. The very thought of knowing he is below Naruto crushes him and fuels him with so much anger and fury. The Sasuke recovery mission begins and Naruto is more than prepared to get Sasuke back. While they try and catch up to the sound fall, Naruto just fuels himself with a little of Kurama's chakra. He gains no fox features, but it makes his speed and stamina way better. They catch up to the sound fall and Shikamaru traps him with his shadow jutsu. Naruto just closes his eyes and stands firm, trying to get into his perfect Sage Mode form. However, he can only get to imperfect from the amount of natural energy absorbed, but it's close to perfect. He has sharp but short claws as well as just small fangs. His hair goes white like normal, but it doesn't look very unkempt. The individual fights go on as usual, but Naruto races forward to get into combat with Kimimaro. Naruto begins to fight swiftly and shows off his insane speed. Naruto's stats compared to his canon self in this moment far exceed him. Naruto swivels while midair and hurls down a kunai tied with the paper bomb. Kimimaro blocks, but many of his bones fracture and hang slightly from the explosive power. Naruto leaps over the collection of smoke and stares down his opponent with his devilish red fox eyes. He slams down with a punch and actually knocks Kimimaro back a few meters. He follows after him as he falls back and throws two strong strikes before swiveling and kicking at his forearm. However, he gets stabbed in the stomach by one of his bones. Naruto tries to punch it and the bone doesn't crack or even budge. "My bones are harder than steel, don't think a little punch could break them." He pulls back his protruding bone and slashes across his chest before sending him back with a precise side kick. Naruto slides across the battlefield and holds his arms up to protect himself from further stabs. Naruto then looks into the distance and sees the coffin open right up to reveal Sasuke, who leaps from inside and reverts from the demonic features of Curse Mark Stage 2. Naruto raises a brow and wonders why his close friend would be allied with the Sound Force. "Sasuke, why are you doing all of this?" Sasuke simply turns and chuckles madly before he races off into the distance. Kimimaro reveals a very long blade-like bone and charges at Naruto with amazing speed. However, Naruto is able to dodge right out of the way of the stab and he kicks him back about a meter. Before Kimimaro can run back to his opponent, Lee dives in with a powerful right kick to knock him back even further. "Go after him!" Rock Lee exclaims. So that will conclude the second part of What If Naruto Was a Fox Age. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video because I most definitely enjoyed making it. Thanks so much for watching and I'll see you in the next video.